guys, finally get to get out on a Lowrider ST. I realize these things don't ride, you know, a whole lot different from a regular Lowrider S, which is fine. There's no, I mean, you can tell the seat sits up a little bit higher. There's a little more travel. I'm pretty comfortable in this thing. Not a huge fan of the mid controls on the newer Softails. To me, they're a little high. I felt like my Dyna was a little more comfortable position. Now, after riding the Pan America with the, I wouldn't call them rear sets, but the sets directly underneath you, I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable by any means. I just wish that they didn't feel, maybe the seat just needs to be a little bit higher, I'm not sure. But then you get into the design of the bike, the rest of the ergonomics, everything changes a little bit, so it's not uncomfortable. I'm just a little long-legged for my height, and wish I had a little more leg room. That's being pretty nitpicky though. Again, this is the original shakedown run on this bike, kind of taking a little bit different route because I needed to put about 6 miles on it, go through all the gears, hit a couple brake points. I really like the stock bars. I wish they were a little taller, but that is the usual case. But I could definitely ride this bike like this. Would probably rather have a straight riser. Get my hands just a hair further away from me. Oh yeah, new bike brakes. So again, I try to reiterate this every time I'm on a new bike for people who are thinking about buying a new bike and know that they have to brake in the motor, but they don't really think about everything else. Man, the brakes right off the bat they're just soft. There's not a whole lot of bite on them. I'm sure whenever they go through the process of making the rotors, making the pads, there's probably some outer material that needs to burn off. So just like the motor, you got to bring the brakes up to temperature slowly over time. And if you do it correctly, you'll get more and more bite out of those brakes. You know, I wasn't a big fan of like where the air cleaner sits, because you think, man, that's going to be all over my leg, but man, my leg's not touching it at all. One of the few bikes that has that air cleaner on it that is not a clearance problem for me. Yeah, I'm not even close to it. For those of you that don't know, I did have a 2018 Fat Bob. It was the standard Fat Bob, not the special, but we did do a 114 kit in it. So a stage 3 114 kit. Made great power. But it had the forward controls on it, so this feels similar to that, but just with a more rigid fairing, which I do like the fairing. I don't love it. It's not the shape I thought Harley was coming out with. I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger. Sitting behind it, it doesn't feel big at all. But man, the airflow behind it's damn good. And I know there's already plenty of aftermarket windshields out there. So if you needed a little more coverage, you could definitely get it. Yeah, these 117s, man, the bottom end on them is impressive. Every single one I've been on, it's just the throttle response is a little bit better. They grunt a little harder. Obviously making a little more torque. Now they sound just like every other M8 stock. Maybe just a little bit throatier. You know, I like to tell the story about when me and one of my coworkers got to go ride the Pan Americas a little early. And I was like, man, it's just a matter of time before I buy one of those. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting right now. Just riding one of these. It's just, It feels like something that needs to be in my garage. Pretty cool bike. And I don't feel like it needs a lot. It's already got cruise control. Not a fan of the gauge, the little digital gauge. I mean, I get it, it's minimalist, but man, give me at least the single tack like what was on the Fat Bob. That one was okay. The dual, you know, tack and speedo is cool, but I would be completely fine with the single all-in-one. Front end is, my Fat Bob was a little soft and I did progressive springs in it to stiffen it up. It doesn't feel as soft on this, but I don't know, it doesn't feel real great either. Which, I mean, let's be honest, most stock Harley outside of probably the Pan America leaves quite a bit to be desired. The mono shock on the Softails, if it's set up properly, is pretty damn good. I know some guys still swap them out, but I have not had a problem with the rear mono shocks. The seat is okay for a stock seat. You could put some miles on this thing. Stock Harley seats just tend to have too much material in them for me, and that material ends up bunching up and you get, you know, hard spots. But everything else, I mean, what would I do to this bike? I would probably want to do the stereo insert just because it's freaking cool. I usually do rock the headset, you know, in my helmet, no problems there, so I could go either way, but man, it'd be cool to have. I'm not a fan of the bronze colored wheels. I mean, they look cool with the tank and everything. I would want to black it out. I probably wouldn't want any of the colors that they're doing right now. If I was going to pick one, I would still do black. And I'm just, you know, everybody and their dog has a black Harley, so. I would go a little taller with the bars, but still keep a moto type setup. Now it looks like there's quite a bit of room in that clutch cable, which there never is a lot, but maybe you can go up 2 or 3 inches taller. That brake line looks super tight though. You're not going any taller on that side, so you definitely would need that. I would probably do a set of mini floorboards. Obviously I would do some exhaust. I think everybody knows I'm a pretty big D&D fan, but there's a lot of great exhaust out there. I just love the note that comes out of that Bobcat, especially on the M8s. My Fat Bob sounded amazing, still sounds amazing wherever it is. But again, yeah, they just don't need a whole lot. LED blinkers front and rear, something like that. Maybe try to put a few more lights on the rear of it, if at all possible. Figure out a way to avoid construction at all costs. It's lovely, isn't it? The bigger windshield, I'd want a little more windshield on it. But that's, I mean, that's minimal. I think that's why you buy a bike. It doesn't need power. Brakes are good enough. I might play with the front end suspension, kind of like I did on my Fat Bob, just stiffen up just a hair. It doesn't feel quite as soft as my Fat Bob did. I'm fine with the rear shock. Stock tires always leave a little bit to be desired. There's some great brands out there. Pirelli, Metzler, and y'all know the brands. That's about it. Guys, have any questions, hit me up below. Please like and subscribe. Waiting for some new news from Harley. We've been talking about a little bit off and on. The I don't think he's got enough traction there. Whatever they're going to do for their icon collection, you know, the rumor is the Diablo. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think you'll see that this year. Just don't think that's going to happen. Reason being, the Lowrider STs just came out. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do some type of collector's edition right off the bat when they just started bringing these bikes out. So I think it'll be something different. Hopefully it's something cool. Maybe with all the global economic issues, they'll put it off this year. Hope that's not the case. I'd expect to see some specialty paint at some point. Harley's pretty good at doing that, and they do some pretty cool specialty paints whenever they pull the trigger on it. Guys, again, any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next one.